Assalamualaikum and a very good morning everyone. Okay, so for today's pre-lab session, we're going to discuss the chemical reaction that we're going to use for experiment 5, which is the reaction of hydroxy compound. So by the end of this lesson, you should be able to identify the classes of alcohol and to study the chemical properties of alcohol and phenol. So alcohol is any organic compound that have the hydroxyl group directly bonded to either aliphatic chain ataupun aromatic chain. So if the hydroxyl group itu is directly bonded to aliphatic chain, then alkohol itu kita panggil sebagai aliphatic alcohol. And if the hydroxyl group is directly bonded to the aromatic chain such as benzene, so alkohol itu kita akan panggil dia sebagai aromatic alcohol. So just like carbon and hydrogen, alcohol also we can classify into different classes. Okay, so when the hydroxyl group itu is bonded to primary carbon, so alcohol itu kita panggil dia sebagai primary alcohol. Okay, now if the hydroxyl group is directly bonded to the secondary carbon, so the class of alcohol itu kita panggil dia sebagai secondary alcohol. So if the hydroxyl group itu is bonded to the tertiary carbon, so the class of alcohol itu kita panggil dia sebagai tertiary alcohol. So for this experiment, we're going to use 3 different type of alcohol. So we're going to use 1 butanol, 2 butanol, and also 2 methyl 2-propanol. So the first thing that you need to do before you classify the alcohol is you need to draw the structural formula. So this is the structural formula for 1 butanol. And then you need to determine the class of carbon yang ada hydroxyl group itu. So for a 1 butanol, the class of carbon that directly to the bonded OH itu kita akan tengok this carbon is bonded to only 1 carbon. So class itu adalah primary carbon. So the alcohol itu adalah primary alcohol. Okay, for a 2 butanol, the carbon that directly bonded to the hydroxyl group itu are bonded to 1 and 2 carbon. So the class of carbon itu adalah secondary carbon. So it means that the 2 butanol is a secondary alcohol. Okay, for a 2 methyl 2-propanol, the carbon yang ada hydroxyl group ini is bonded to 1, 2 and 3 carbon. So the classes of carbon is tertiary carbon. So it means that 2 methyl 2-propanol is a tertiary alcohol. So the first part of experiment 5 is we need to treat those different classes of alcohol itu with Lucas test. Reason dia sebab apa? Sebab Lucas test ini is a test that can be used to differentiate the different classes of alcohol. Okay, and Lucas test ni is only suitable if the alcohol itu consists of 6 carbon atom or less. Reason dia sebab apa? Sebab kalau alcohol itu have 6 carbon atom or fewer than that, then dia boleh completely dissolve dalam Lucas reagent ini. So Lucas reagent itu is a mixture of concentrated hydrochloric acid and also zinc chloride that acts as a catalyst. Okay, so the general equation for the Lucas test is given by alcohol react with concentrated hydrochloric acid and zinc chloride as a catalyst. It will produce haloalkane and water. So the haloalkane form is insoluble in water. So what will you expect? Awak akan nampak ada 2 layers. Sebab apa? Sebab haloalkane ini, the intermolecular forces is dipole-dipole interaction because haloalkane is a polar. Okay, and water ini the intermolecular forces dia adalah hydrogen bond. So it means that the haloalkane form cannot form hydrogen bond with water. That's why dia tak boleh dissolve dalam water. So the equation or the reaction is simple. Okay, so produk dia adalah apa yang kita akan buat, kita hanya akan substitute the OH itu dengan Cl sahaja. Yang lain tu awak salin balik. So for a Lucas test, what we going to observe is we going to observe the time taken for the cloudy solution itu untuk appear. Sebab it doesn't matter whether primary ke secondary tertiary, cloudy solution itu akan appear. So yang membezakan dia adalah dia punya time taken. So for a primary alcohol, kalau kita ada fixed duration of amount of time untuk test itu, For a primary alcohol, normally there's no cloudy solution will form even after 10 minutes. Okay, so for a secondary alcohol, the solution itu will turn cloudy within 5 to 10 minutes. Tapi kalau kita buat eksperimen, nanti awak akan nampak secondary alcohol itu dia hanya kalau awak biar dia dekat room temperature selama 10 minutes, there is no cloudy solution form. Apa yang kita akan buat ialah kalau there is no cloudy solution form, after 10 minutes at room temperature, kita akan heat dia dalam water bath. So for a secondary alcohol, normally the solution itu will turn cloudy within 1 minute after awak heatkan dalam water bath. Okay, for a tertiary alcohol, so when you treat with a Lucas reagent, the solution itu will turn cloudy immediately. Okay, so the second part of experiment 5 is we're going to do the oxidation of alcohol. So the oxidation of alcohol is one of the most important chemical reaction. Reason dia sebab dia boleh convert alcohol itu into another class of organic compound. So in general, the oxidation of alcohol can yield either carboxylic acid ataupun carbonyl. So dia boleh jadi ketone ataupun aldehyde. And the product of the oxidation depend on the classes of the alcohol. So there are few oxidizing agent yang kita normally use to oxidize alcohol. We can either use pyridinium chlorochromate ataupun PCC in inert solvent, ataupun awak boleh guna hot acidified camphor, hot acidified potassium dichromate ataupun hot acidified sodium dichromate. Okay, so for this experiment, we're going to use hot acidified sodium dichromate. For a primary alcohol, when you treat the primary alcohol with a hot acidified sodium dichromate, the primary alcohol itu will convert to become carboxylic acid. And when the dichromate ion ini dia undergo reduction, it will produce chromium 3+ ion. Okay, so observation awak akan nampak adalah the dichromate ion ini, the color of dichromate ion is orange. So when it undergo reduction, it will produce chromium 3+, which is green in color. So the observation that you should write is the orange color of sodium dichromate will turn to green. Remember that if our cara nak tulis observation dia, kalau dia involve color changes, so you need to state the color before and after the reaction happen, and color itu belong to what chemical. Okay, for a secondary alcohol, when you treat secondary alcohol with hot acidified sodium dichromate, the secondary alcohol itu will convert to become ketone and also chromium 3+. Chromium 3+ ni dia is a product of the reduction of the dichromate ion. So sekarang dichromate ion dah undergo reduction, kita akan expect dia punya observation dia sama macam primary alcohol. So the orange color of the sodium dichromate will turn to green. So this is the green color that you should expect when doing experiment. Okay, for a tertiary alcohol, when you treat with hot acidified sodium dichromate, no observable change. It means that the orange color of the sodium dichromate itu will remain unchanged. Ini bermaksud tertiary alcohol itu tak boleh undergo oxidation. Reason dia kenapa dia tak boleh undergo oxidation adalah kalau awak tengok dekat carbon yang ada OH ni, dah tak ada the hydrogen. So kalau dah tak ada hydrogen that directly bonded to the carbon with the hydroxyl group itu, maknanya dia tak boleh berlaku oxidation. Okay, so the last part for experiment 5 is we're going to do the identification test for phenol. So phenol ini dia akan react with bromine water to give 2,4,6-tribromophenol, which is a white precipitate. So kalau awak treat a colorless solution with bromine water and awak hasilkan white precipitate yang macam ini, dia bermaksud the colorless solution itu adalah phenol. Okay, I think that's all for the pre-lab session. Thank you.